Hello and welcome to Superpower Broadcasting. I'm your host, Kevin Castley. Tonight we're joined by Wyatt Claypool, and tonight we're going to be discussing the challenge that was posed to all neocons by Jack Posobiec tonight, who over on Twitter said that he would debate any neocons. Now, there's a big caveat here. I've been blocked by him for a while, so I formally accepted his challenge. However, I'm still blocked. We're waiting to see what's going to happen. I'm going to bring up the tweet for proof. But with that, we got Wyatt here joining us tonight. So Wyatt, take it away.
Hey, yo. It's not even as much of a discussion of what's going on. It's more of just to put on the record that he did accept any challenge from any neocon, which is actually sort of funny considering the fact that you're blocked. So clearly he doesn't want to hear from you.
Yeah, I don't really think he's too keen to debate me. I think he put that out there, not expecting that anybody would actually take him up on his offer, so he'd get to look tough. The problem is, yeah, you can block a bunch of neocons, but word's going to get back to me that you're challenging us to a debate. I'm the neocon, debate me, bro. What'd you think was going to happen? So there we go. Kyle Frank says, reply to your Twitter DMs. I've been so busy. I've got literally dozens of DMs I got to get back to on right now. I will get back to you after the next stream is over, however. So thanks for your patience.
Yeah, no, but the thing is that with the debate, it's like he also what I'm thinking he might do, I hope he actually does take it up, because I think that would actually be an interesting discussion. And again, I think I said this last time we talked about Jack, is that we actually probably agree with him on like 70% of stuff, just because he is generally fairly conservative. But the only way I could see him dodging you is just pretending as if you're too much of a nobody or whatever to debate, even though he said anywhere, anytime. So it's going to be a little bit ironic if he doesn't hold up that side of the bargain.
Well, I think that his excuse is going to be, if he does back out of it, to claim that I was acting in bad faith, because that's what Jared Rabel used as his excuse, because he did the same tweet. He said that he was open to debate any neocons. The problem is he had a bunch of neocons blocked. I found out about it. I said, dude, I will 100% debate him. Somebody get him to unblock me so that we can work out a time. He unblocked me to reply to it, to say he doesn't debate bad actors, and then block me again. So very weak. Very weak. This is from Mr. Tough Guy, Jared Rabel. So hopefully Jack Posobiec has more courage than that. Hopefully. But I'm just looking at this right now. The trouble is just actually getting the image up on the screen. Everybody can see it as the thumbnail for the video. But I've been so rushed tonight after I got home and all this stuff exploded. I don't actually have the tweet for proof here. Somebody can get me the tweet itself. I'll put that up on the screen.
I have it because I think I sent it. I was sending it around just because, of course, I knew you're blocked, so you just wanted proof for the band.
Yeah, we'll put up the proof here, and then I will formally accept his debate challenge. There we go. I got it. I'm going to upload this right now.
Oh, there's another great tweet I wanted to send you. Just someone who wasn't even neocon, who was just sort of like face palming at what Jack was saying, because Jack, immediately he went on to not even be able to describe neocons.
Yeah, no, send it my way.
Because he was comparing. He was saying that somehow, and this is hopefully this will be a little bit of a preview to what a debate between Jack and Kevin would be like, is that Jack thinks that neocons and the CCP are sort of like one. I'm not even sure what to say. I guess he's saying that neocons like the CCP or are sexually attracted to the CCP or something like that. I'm not sure if he knows what he's talking about.
What? Okay, so this is the actual challenge here. He says, happy to debate any neocon anytime. And guess what? I said straight up, I formally accept his debate challenge. And I'm not even going to bring up the tweet. I don't need to. I'm going to say it right here, right now. I formally accept the debate challenge, Jack Posobiec. We can set up any time that works for the both of us. and I am 100% happy to debate you. And I hope that you're going to, live up to your word, and we can actually have this debate, because it seems like you got a lot of tough talk against the neocons, but at the end of the day, if we're blocked by you, to what extent is this just almost, in a sense, virtue signaling, to the point where if everybody that could accept, or if a large number of those that could accept your challenge are blocked by you, then you get to look tough to your audience, just like Jared Rabel did. But what they don't see is the people you have blocked. You can't see what other people have blocked. But if the neocons are blocked, then that's a bit of a problem. So I'm saying right here, right now, I've seen your challenge. It's been brought to my attention. I'm 100% down to debate you anytime that works for the both of us. So we could get a moderator, if you want, that works for the both of us too, that we both agree to, a neutral moderator. I'm 100% down with that. So
you can even have two moderators if you want.
Yeah.
Although it'd be really funny if the debate started just based on the things that he's been saying on multiple issues, where he tends to conflate two different ideologies and two like radically different positions as the same one. So he talks about often neoconservatives as if they're neoliberals. So like right there, just like I think the one he said after that was the literal thing he posted.
Oh man,
and the thing that Kanzuk posted after that was like the literal quote.
You know what's funny about that too is, like I've said before, like, well, yeah, the problem is that with a lot of the older neocons, they were kind of open to freer trade with China and stuff like that as a byproduct of the relationship during the Cold War. And that's a bit of a blind spot to where they didn't really realize that China was never going to liberalize outside of some economic reforms. So the problem with that characterization, though, still is that even then, even in the 2000s, even in the 1990s, there was still quite a bit of difference between neocons and neoliberals. They've never been the same thing. That's goofy. They're like they don't even describe similar characteristics either. One's mostly a foreign policy persuasion coupled with a standard sort of Republican domestic policy, and neoliberalism, in contrast, is laissez-faire domestic economics coupled with free trade. That's pretty different. So,
well, they'll call like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, a lot of other Democrats, like Democrats who are clearly like Elizabeth Warren, they'll call her a neoliberal. And it's like, what part? Is it just because people call her a liberal colloquially? So then now she's a neoliberal. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of what he does, where he'll just confuse terms and then use them interchangeably. So I wonder if the debate, he'll just say like, no, you're not actually using a neocon position. I heard one from like who's someone like I don't know, like that's not what AOC said. She's a neocon.
That's right. That's not what Trotsky said. I thought you were Trotsky. What do you mean? You don't want to redistribute all the wealth in the economy? I thought you were Trotsky. I thought neocons were Trotsky. Now, I don't think he's going to do that argument.
He studied up for the debate by reading Das Kapital.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm going to be debating a neocon. Let's read Trotsky's criticisms of Stalin. I
like how they're in the sort of position where at any time neoconservatives are like just a bunch of, I don't know, like free market or like free marketers, or we're just a bunch of corporatists, while at the same time we're supposedly we're somehow like the bane of libertarians, while we also for some reason in their minds also want free trade with China, like complete open free trade, even though we're also warmongers.
Yeah, it's like you can't be an open borders free trade person with the CCP and everything, but then also be like a warmonger, a hawk, all this kind of stuff. It doesn't make sense. These look, this is one of the reasons why I'm excited to why I would be happy to debate Jack, which is that you might say, well, it's an opportunity to get a bigger following, to bring more awareness to your channel and everything, and that's technically true. But what I'd be really hyped on is just how easy it would be to dismantle his talking points. Like, it would actually be a relatively straightforward debate for me. I imagine it would go somewhat similar to the Burns debate, except, imagine a more conservative version of Burns, and And who knows? Who knows? Maybe there'd be some common ground. Maybe there'd be some overlap that we could agree upon. I mean, like you said, I mean, it's not like this is a guy that I disagree with everything on. So
yeah. I'm looking for his stuff that he reposts. And he puts out he's like retweeting people like putting up Alex Jones stuff. Yeah, and like just the way he does stuff, it's like he's trying to be like, oh guys, I'm a trad like neat like conservative or whatever. Like I'm a like traditional social conservative, and then like none of his stuff is actually that.
Oh yeah, a lot of the conspiracy theories and stuff aren't even like traditional or anything. A lot of them are just like 4chan type.
Well, I mean, like just mean like I'm a Christian like social conservative, even though like he again confuses Catholic with Christian, which are two significantly different things. And then he's like posting random like 10 testosterone facts that men need to know. I'm like, this is this is a little weird for you to be posting.
That's kind of like the Alex Jones thing with like buy super male vitality now and keep you immune from the frogs.
Stop thinking about your followers' bodies, Jack. It's kind of a little weird.
No, okay, that's a bit of a hot take there that you threw in about Catholicism, because the thing is, I actually agree with you on that. I know people say, well, Christianity on the whole, Catholicism is separate from Protestantism. They're very different things.
Well, but he lists himself generically, and that's what I'm saying is that he doesn't really care to look into any of the stuff he claims to be, or he claims that other people are. It's just like, oh, this person's neo something. It doesn't matter if it's neo-conservative, neo-liberal, or neo-Nazi. Because it has a neo in the front, it means the same thing.
The same thing. Well, no, I had people literally argue. Like over the last week, I've had people tell me that I'm no different than the Nazis, and then I've also had people tell me that I'm no different than the communists. And part of both of their reasoning was, well, the Nazis invaded people and the communists invaded people, and that's what the neocons did in Iraq and Afghanistan, which is hilarious because war has no ideology in and of itself. War has been a thing before politics was even invented, basically. Like what matters is what you're fighting for. Who are you invading? Why are you going in there? What's the overall persuasion?
I'm not sure if one of the people got back to me, but someone in Jack's sort of like reply section was like, he said that something about he was like saying that like, oh, you want to invade people or whatever, and like you're pro invasion, as if, and I even said, what's inherently bad about invading someone? And there's just nothing to it. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with a tactic, like other than saying like, yeah, it's wrong to slowly dip someone in a boiling oil. That seems a little harsh. Like I can say that tactic's probably wrong, but it's like, what's wrong with invasion? If someone threatens your life or like pulls a knife on you and you pulled a gun on them and shot the person, they would be like, I can't believe you attacked him first. I'm like, oh, what are you talking about?
That was preemptive. That was a preemptive violence.
Aggression isn't inherently wrong. It just means it's aggressive. It's like descriptor. It's a descriptor. It's not like evil. I'm not committing evil against you. It's just an invasion. It's like how I always get annoyed whenever people think of sovereignty as a catch-all that makes someone good. Like Assad's good because he has sovereignty. And I always push back on the concept of sovereignty. There's no such thing as sovereignty, in the sense that you only have sovereignty if you have the military to back it up or you have the friends who are willing to enforce it.
That's right. That's right. And I want to be clear about something. I know I always do the sovereignty memes and all that kind of stuff. I actually support British sovereignty, American sovereignty, Canadian sovereignty. It has to be legitimate. That's the big thing. And yeah, you could have a legitimate free state that I would recognize as sovereign, like, for example, Taiwan. And straight up, if we don't have their back and China invades, they're going down. Like, that's not going to save them, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're the good guy.
Yeah, no. I'm thinking of it in the fact, like, I want all like the Western democracies, even countries that aren't democracies, for the most part, I would support backing up if someone tried to invade them and maintain their sovereignty. But I'm talking about in the sense that, well, I see the Iranian tanks starting to roll over into Armenia because the Turks and the Iranians got close or something like that. And I'm like running into the battlefield like Chamberlain, waving around a piece of paper saying, guys, didn't you hear about the Peace of Westphalia? These invisible lines mean something.
It's true. It's true. You know, I've got this document from 1638 saying how we should all just like not invade each other. So, like, could you please exit my territory,
Oh,
bro?
I just got a reply from someone, and it's brilliant. He was a neocon, and became a populist. He became a populism. I don't
He
even
became a
know.
populism.
I don't even know what it means.
Oh
Like,
man.
that's just like saying I used to be a neocon, and now I just do whatever people want me to do, or I just think whatever's generally popular on the right.
But like populism, I love what you said earlier, what Jack was replying to initially, which is that, and I make this point all the time. I make this point all the time, which is that populism doesn't even have any coherent agenda. Like you think of Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, they're both populists, yet they have opposite tax proposals. For example, populism is just this meaningless, vapid, angsty sort of thing. And I said in a video that I did recently that it's actually the flip side of the same coin as elitism. At the end of the day, it's all about privileging this one sort of set of people or this one leader to be this sort of like champion or whatever. And in populism, there's this sort of understanding that, well, the leader has the best interests at heart for everybody and all this kind of stuff. Whereas in elitism, it's like, oh, well, the aristocrats have the best interests at heart for everybody. But at the end of the day, they both kind of take away the notion of individual agency, all that kind of stuff. They're both very vapid, and they don't, well, and in particular with populism, it really doesn't have a coherent or consistent economic message. I mean, when you can have somebody like, for example, Hassan Piker call himself a populist at the same time as somebody such as Donald Trump Jr., for example, the term's meaningless, you know? So,
And like, even just to bring up the definition of populism, just to ground this a bit, like, I know we're both pretty much right on it, but here it is: like a political approach that strives to appeal to the ordinary people who feel that their concerns are disregarded by the establishment elite groups. And like, even in that definition, there's no ideology. It even just calls it an approach, and it's
that's
like
right.
to
But
strive
it
to
could be
appeal.
left. It
And it
could be
says it
left wing.
strives to appeal. It's not that I'm a populist, ergo I appeal to ordinary people. It's just a tactic. That's why different populists appeal to different people. Like honestly, every single awful dictator started usually out as a populist. There's never really hostile dictatorial takeovers where no one wanted the guy in the first place. Like, other than if it's a coup, and they usually don't even last very long if everyone hated them.
Oh man.
Dictators tend to show up because of populism, and that's not exactly a good thing in that situation.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up the tweet about Steve, who used to be a neocon and then he became a populism. This one's going to be fun. Let's bring this up. Let's see here. Let's just upload that. Welcome to everybody who's joining us tonight. For those of you just tuning in, Jack Posobiec over on Twitter had right here said, happy to debate any neocon anytime. And this is my formal acceptance of his debate challenge. However, I'm blocked, so Jack, you should probably go to your blocked accounts list and edit that so that we can have a conversation and set up a time to do the debate. I mean,
He's really letting stuff get under his skin. I don't even know why he would block you, because the thing is that oftentimes, if you're a smaller account like you, he's not going to really see your tweets if you reply to him, unless you're replying aggressively like 15 times a minute.
I know why he blocked me, because I remember there was a time a few months ago when you and him had a Twitter exchange, and I had your back, and Jack was tweeting about like the Hawks and everything, and Hawk Twitter for a couple hours. That was when he blocked me, because I was responding to him and I was quote tweeting him with my responses, and so he blocked me. That was when he replied to you a few months ago.
Yeah, and what was funny about that whole thing was that, like, man, I was the one who was actually sort of insulting him, sort of. Not quite insults, I guess, more so just like strong disagreements. And he was the one who blocked you. I'm like, I don't even know how that works. That like, well, that was some neutral third party. Like, I know you're not neutral. I just mean in the sense that you're really not in the situation, but he just like slaps you for no reason.
Yeah. That was the night, if I recall correctly, that Raheem said that he's never been silly. Never been silly.
I'm not a silly boy. That was the actual thing or something. Or
No,
no, he said he's never been silly, but we turned it into that.
yeah, well, he said, "I've never been silly to you," and then I said, "Everybody, let's note for the record, Raheem has never been a silly boy." And we had a stream about it. It was funny.
Yeah,
like Kanzik still does the memes. He was doing the meme like last night. That has never gone away. Everybody gets a kick out of that, regardless
just
of
sounds
what
like
your
we're just sending
politics
him to
are.
bed.
That's hilarious.
That's the great thing. If Jack comes on, we can tell him to tell Raheem that he's still a silly boy.
Yeah, him doing that. By the way, even if he was technically correct up to that point, which he wasn't, he was probably silly when he was like 2.5 years old. But even if he was technically correct, even if when he was 2.5 years old, he was dutifully and diligently studying like AP calculus and all that kind of stuff and being super serious and stuff.
Studying populism.
Even if that was all true, him tweeting out that he's never been silly is in and of itself a silly thing to tweet. So it kind of contradicts the message.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, he deleted the tweets about him not being silly? No, dude, we have the screenshots. Yeah,
we're good. Anyways, but so I should stop distracting you from bringing up that tweet.
Yeah, this tweet's pretty funny. So, actually, what I've seen of it. Let's bring this up. This is Steve. I was a neocon. I believed the message. It was wrong. I've gradually drifted over to popularism. Oh, popularism. I
didn't even reckon. I give him the benefit of the doubt.
I thought it was populism. Okay. Okay. I would have considered myself a socially conservative socialist during the early 2000s, but I now see the use of force to ensure globalism is wrong. Trump was right. Wait, this doesn't even make very much sense. So he's implying there that when he used to be a neocon, he was a socialist, but neocons have never been, neocons in terms of the formal persuasion and everything have never been socialists. The old school neocons were Trotskyite youth when they were super young, and they got disillusioned with it, and they went hard on the right and pro-American and pro-capitalist side. That's part of what seeing the grotesqueness of the far left will do to you. But this guy's like, oh no, guys, hello, fellow neocons, let's redistribute the means of production and establish the workers' co-ops.
Yeah, this doesn't. Also, what's funny is this is just a minor point, but I like how he's using a lot of commas and like punctuation throughout this whole thing, but he still messes up. He says, "Now I see the use of force to ensure globalism is wrong." You can read that in so many different ways.
Yeah, to ensure globalism. People say, yeah.
Also, sorry again. Donald Trump was not like a paleocon isolationist. Like, he was maybe not great on some issues. Like, he could have been less nice to the North Koreans, and he could have slapped at Russia a little bit more, although he did arm the Ukrainians quite a bit more than Obama did. But at the same time, it's like, dude, he was the one who was like threatening Iran. He was the one who made sure that we got out of the JCPOA or whatever, the Americans.
That's right.
We're Canadians. We're Canadians. We don't have a stake in anything, I guess.
He was good on Iran. He was good on Iran. And additionally, his first 2 years of his administration on North Korea were the best response to North Korea that any president has had. So, but then the last 2 years were horrible in my view. So,
Yeah,
but
at the very
fury was based. So,
at the end of the day, I would still say, even though he was nice to Kim, I think Kim probably still didn't like him based on the fact that he was so hard on China. That was probably cutting off Kim's piggy bank.
Well, that's right. For all their talk of sovereignty and self-reliance and anarchy and everything, North Korea is super dependent on $8 billion of trade with China each year. Yeah. Their economy is $25 billion a year,
and flat out charity from China. Like, the thing is that's the funny thing is that even though he should technically, if logic would dictate that you're going to be nicer to the person who's more like you, he should be more like Xi, because Xi's not nearly as authoritarian as Kim is. Like, they're very authoritarian, but Kim just blows them out of the water still. But the thing is, Donald Trump's not consistent because just Kim's like a more charismatic guy, in terms of being able to be a casual, friendly sort of person, even though he's awful. Whereas Xi's too like unbending to really get along with Trump, so Trump doesn't like him, but he still undermines Kim because he doesn't like Xi. It's very funny to honestly like. It would be great to write up a book that has like flowcharts showing how the relationships Trump's formed basically all contradict each other and end up just making everyone unhappy.
Yeah, no, but that's a good point. Like even Trump was not necessarily particularly hawkish per se on Iran. He was hawkish on Iranian proxies, but he still had tough rhetoric on Iran. Like so like all these guys that are saying, oh well, we're Trump or whatever, it's like Trump, based on some reporting I've seen, straight up wanted to kill Assad and wanted to basically actually initiate a strike against Iran, but then Tucker and Pompeo basically talked him out of it. So this guy, yeah, you're totally right. Like I've said before, like some of Trump's instincts, like Trump's instincts on Iran, if he had just led based on instincts, he would have actually invaded them, you know. But he had people around him that didn't want him to do it. But that's my sort of view of it. I think though that when it comes to the situation right now with what we've got, a lot of people are just trying to redefine the Bush years as like some horrible time for the United States and everything, and talk about how neocons are just a bunch of failures and it's a fail. It's like, show me any failure of neoconservatism. Like Reese tweeted this out earlier. He's like, oh yeah, so the ideology that literally destroyed the Soviet Union is seen as what, like a persuasion that results in people losing. Like that was kind of a big win. So
at what point did that convince someone like Jack that we're totally okay with trading with communists, especially when there's no other communist power to offset?
the only time when it made sense to trade with China was when Nixon did it to try to get them to help against the Soviet Union.
And that had an actual like effect that it was like going after. It's sort of like, again, it's sort of the what about Saudi Arabia though, sort of garbage, where it's like, oh, but you like Saudi Arabia, so you're unprincipled. It's like, no, you want to take out the bigger threat first, and we're okay with Saudi Arabia as long as they continue moderating. And it's like once Iran's gone, if Saudi Arabia starts going the other way, like, do you not think someone's going to hit them over the head with a rod too?
Yeah, we won't have to do it. This is the irony, is that these people make it out that like we just want to invade the world and everything. And of course, in reality, if you took out Iran and you took out North Korea, every other dictator out there would get the message that they should probably do what the West wants, otherwise they're next. I mean, I've had a video way in the past. One of the first videos I ever did was the video, it only takes a few purposeful wars to liberate the world, with the idea basically you take out Iran and North Korea because there's no negotiating with them, and then everybody else out there like Eritrea and even some of these more somewhat hostile regimes, like for example, the communists in Vietnam, communists in Cuba, for example, they're just going to beg like, what can we do to not be invaded? And all that you need to do is show that you mean business. And as far as Russia and China go, you can deal with them economically. You can cut off China from trade, and that'll bankrupt them. And you can replace Russia with Canada and the U.S. for oil production over Europe, and that'll bankrupt Russia. So really, at the end of the day, like as far as actual wars that I 100% support right now, that I see as like 100% necessary, it's Iran and North Korea. That's it. Like nobody's arguing to go to war with Saudi Arabia. And the irony is these guys, I'd say, oh, well, what about Saudi Arabia though? If you said to them, oh, sure, let's support intervention against Saudi Arabia, they'd be like, no, what about Iran?
Whoa. I'm trying to be inconsistent here, so stop.
Yeah, I'm trying to be super serious. I've never been silly. I've never been.
I don't even. They just assume it's like a gotcha. You're like, oh, I don't like. Oh, do you want like? So you want to attack like Saudi Arabia? I mean, you're like, well, there's certain reasons why I won't do it now, but it's not like it's off the table if Iran's gone. And they'll be like, well, that would be bad too. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're assuming you're in this like you're getting us in a gotcha when you're just proving our point.
Yeah,
it's like when they're like it'd be something like I've even heard this before, where it's along the lines of like, well, if you take out that regime, there'll just be more regimes to take out. And I'm like, yeah, your point. What's okay? Like, I don't understand this. As if like the fact that you have to go to work the next day means that somehow your job's a scam. I mean, like, man, I can't believe that after I worked 8 hours on Monday, I had to come and work 8 hours on Tuesday as well. And I'm just like, it's almost like things don't exactly just end after like 24 hours of dedicating yourself to it. Sometimes you have to like stick around a little. And for the United States, in like terms of interventions, it doesn't cost that much to actually stick around with a sizable force. It also employs people, so these people should be happy about it. It brings jobs to Americans.
Brings jobs. It brings jobs.
Americans are literally outsourcing themselves across the seas while still being employed.
Oh man. Yeah. So I guess this is a part of the stream where I guess I want to ask the audience as well as you, Wyatt. What do we think the chances are that Jack's going to keep his word and debate this Neocon ghoul here? Do we think he's going to do it, or do we think that he's just not? So we'll go to Wyatt. And then we'll see.
He suddenly stopped tweeting, and what I was hoping to do is that like once he tweets, and the best time to catch someone and get them to notice something that you said was like when they have like millions of followers, is catch them in like the first minute or 30 seconds of their tweet. But after he started like just randomly putting out a couple dumb tweets, he just like I guess he was like 7 martinis deep, and then he went to sleep. So I guess we'll have to catch him in the morning, and hopefully he remembers what even happened, or he's just like posing. It's like if Kevin just came out on Twitter and just put his like hands on his hips and he's like, I will debate any anarchist or libertarian out there, and I'll absolutely destroy them, break their legs, and like do some other stuff that sounds menacing. And then they're like, hey, Kevin, do you want to debate? And he's like, no, get away from me. I don't even know you. Who are you? Actually, that's what a bunch of people did as an excuse that Jack shouldn't debate you. And they're like, oh, who's Kevin Castley? ? Or they'll be like, Kevin Castley, who? And I'm like, well, he just said he'll debate anyone.
Anyone.
And I assume that anyone's definition still involves Kevin.
No, here's the thing here. Does he mention anything about needing to have more than 806 followers here? No, he says happy to debate any neocon anytime. And I'm a neocon, and I'm willing to debate 80 times. So let's go.
I think the only rules should be that it either takes place on your channel or it takes place it's mirrored to both channels, and that both people have to agree to leave up the videos after the fact.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He can come on and debate here. Otherwise, like I see, this is the thing. My worry debating elsewhere is that I'm going to find another copyright strike because somebody's going to do what the Burns thing was. But if we can work out a neutral ground and actually have an agreement where nobody copyright strikes each other or whatever, and we both mirror it, I'm okay with that too. So, but I mean, let's see. Kevin, yeah, no, I've actually had a few debate challenges and everything. The thing that's interesting is that actually a couple of the libertarians straight up were like, yeah, okay, they set up debates with me and everything. That Ace guy, he was all tough talk and everything, but then he refused to debate me, which is super funny because even his buddies are like, oh yeah, I'll debate you, whereas he's scared. And yet he had the time to go on a 70-minute podcast with one of the guys that I'm debating Tuesday and talk about us. So that was pretty interesting. So he's got the time for that, but he doesn't have the time to debate. So
have you ever noticed that libertarians and anarchists seem to sign up for debates like way faster than the sort of more left-wing isolationists like Dylan?
Oh yeah,
I find that they're like 100%. Really.
That's the thing.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'll let you go. I talk too much.
Oh no, he cut out on your end, I think. But
I stopped talking.
Say, yeah, with the exception of Jared Rabble, who is a libertarian / paleocon, who is he literally said, no, I'll debate any neocons except you because you're a bad actor. That guy is goofy, and he proceeded to block me again. Apart from him, though, yes, anarchists and like ANCAPs and stuff and libertarians are actually more gung-ho about debating. The far left, with the exception of maybe people like Vosh, they're not really even interested in debating. They're just interested in getting those Patreon checks coming in to talk about how, Marx was good and everything. Like, what's that guy, Ryan Knight or something? He's got his Patreon where, like, for $10 you can be a tier 1 comrade, and for $20 you can be like a seize the means of production comrade. And it's like, okay, let's make this guy a bunch of money so we can be communist comrades and end capitalism,
Yeah. Also, this is sort of why I find that libertarians can get a bit annoying. I'm like, I think both of us would agree a lot with libertarian economics. We would just disagree with the extent that they put themselves to, with just having no restrictions. Like, we're on the side of having less restrictions than more, and probably as few as we need, like as few as needed.
Yeah.
But the problem the thing that's annoying about them is I find that at very least the left-wing isolationist types tend to be quite aware that they probably don't know all that much, and they just pretend to. I think the libertarians literally think that their one-word answer, just having less government and staying home and like locking the doors, is the best option at all times. And they're just like, well, I'll just say that, and Kevin's brain's going to explode.
No, absolutely. You're totally right. Like, even somebody who's more of like a debate me bro on their side, like Vosh, I've seen him on streams before say straight up, he doesn't know very much about economics. He'll admit it 100%. He's like, well, I don't really know anything about the stock market. And he also has said before, he doesn't really know anything about foreign policy. So you should probably take these guys' views on economics and foreign policy with a grain of salt. They don't really know. I mean, realistically, the only thing that they can speak with any degree of confidence on are social issues, because social issues are more of a moral thing and don't really require empiricism or a theoretical background as much. They can just say, oh, well, I feel like I support pro-choice, or I feel like I support whatever it is or whatnot. It's like, it's more of an emotional sort of thing. Like, you can get away with emotional arguments on social issues. You can't get away with emotional arguments on foreign policy or economics. You're just going to be exposed as a clown. So,
Yeah, the thing I find that libertarians' popularity tends to be I'd say overwrought, I guess, because people assume like, well, they're pro-liberty, but I don't think they realize what that means. And this is where it's sort of where their ideology goes from, well, I guess that's a very populist, I guess, power to the people, sort of get off my lawn sort of a ideology. And then where it goes really off the rails, it's like, oh, and also your small little community, your small, like, Coffee County, Georgia, is not allowed to pass any sort of local option laws, because that would violate the liberty of the random libertarian who wants to drive through the town and dump Coke cans on the side of the road. It's like, it sort of turns into just that, where it's just like, again, it just turns into I'm not even sure how to describe it, just finding little things that are not actually violating your rights in any realistic way, or just finding like a community that has a consensus on an issue, and then just forcing the minority view onto them.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of amazing. I think that in general, one of the things with the libertarians that I find so annoying is how they think that they're firm, resolute, 100%, we're only going to, side with people that 100% agree with this sort of framework. It really does them in. I mean, they refuse to support Trump, for example, on, they refuse to vote for the Republicans because in their view, they see the Republicans wanting lower taxes. And they're like, these guys aren't pure enough. We want no taxes. So let's not vote for them. Let's vote for Joe.
Well, that's where you get into the whole stupid, like, I am a libertarian. I'm an anarchist. I'm an anarcho-syndicalist. I'm a minarchist. I'm a monarchist. And it's like, who cares? It's just you trying to show up your friends at it's just you trying to show up all your friends who were libertarians last month. So you want to be like the uber libertarian. And I guess that means that they'll go buy you a crown.
That's right. And we have a we have a friend of the channel here, Jonathan Holmes, downvoted.
I hope
Cool.
Jonathan realizes that downvoting a video still helps its analytics.
Yes, that's actually true. By the way, that's actually true because the videos, I did a video recently or stream recently that I think it has like 32 dislikes and 25 likes or whatever. That one's getting recommended. I could see in the impressions way more than some of the other ones, which actually have a way higher like ratio. That one's
Yeah,
like 47% likes, and yet
Arthur doesn't.
it's being like 100 views every few hours. So
Arthur doesn't want me revealing the secrets. To be fair, to be fair, I bet he to be fair, that means that Jonathan is doing what I command by removing the downvote. He's actually coming here and following a Neocon's advice.
Yeah, he says, yeah, but it stops YouTube from suggest stuff like this. By the way, I 100% know that that's kind of BS because now it might technically be true in a micro case. However, I can verify that I've had more or less the same likes ratio to dislikes ratio over the last 90 days. And yet our impressions are up huge.
It also doesn't work that way because by coming onto the video and viewing it, you're helping the analytics already. So like what would YouTube do? You downvote it and it would like more than reduce the analytics from your view. It's like it's not going to do that. It's like you've still added to the fact that people are going to now watch this more because you're currently watching it. And then YouTube just doesn't really care if you had a good or bad reaction because of course someone could make a video on something where there's like ripping apart some politician that everyone doesn't like and people are disliking it out of instinct for not liking that politician. Like that'd be really stupid if you were penalized for people just not understanding how likes and dislikes work. Like again, like we know trailers that have like 90% dislikes, like of terrible movies.
Yes,
but you'll see those trailers all over the place because people love watching how bad it is.
No, that's right. That's right. Jonathan says, I meant that it stops me from seeing your stuff. I don't care if it helps your channel. Actually, the way that you do that is you click on stop recommending me this, you know, as an option, not dislike. All that you're doing
you just slightly reduce your own ability to see the videos. And it's like, okay, you'll be missed, man. I can't believe Jonathan Holmes isn't watching anymore. This is where the whole channel went downwards. It was when this random first-time viewer decided not to view again.
No, I mean, I know that people will be like it because I'll see the comments and everything, and people will be like, downvoted. And I'll just be like, awesome. That's another reaction because you're absolutely right about the algorithm gods. The algorithm gods are pleased and they will avoid sending their wrath down upon this channel. As long as we go to the effort of giving a reaction. They're neutral though. They don't actually care if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Jonathan, am I in a debate with Jonathan? I feel like I'm in some sort of like end of relationship argument because he's not making much sense right now. He said, "Who said I was a first-time viewer?" I'm like,
wait,
what?
What?
Why are you reducing your ability to be recommended these videos then?
So this is even better than him because Reese was like, was this video recommended? That's pretty awesome. No, you know what's actually more awesome than that though? He's a hate watcher who refuses to subscribe, but he'll always watch all the videos so that he can download.
He hates you so much, he wants it difficult to look you up. He doesn't want to be recommended. He wants to have to type in every single letter of your channel's name. His fingers bleeding, just trying to get to your stream. So then he can just suck some more of his soul out of his body, just watching your stream, staring at your face and knowing I disagree with everything that Kevin stands for. that piece of garbage.
I'm just gonna watch like like 200,000 watch minutes or whatever from like the last 28 days and just know that like 1,400 of those from Jonathan, that sort of thing. That'd be funny. Let's see. Holmes been lurking and jerking just like Richard Schmidt. So oh man, that's Stalin and fallen. Oh man, beyond parody. Yeah. So anyway, we got about 10 more minutes before I want to wrap up this because I already did say to the Politicrat that that Thursday night we would be able to continue our conversation on Russia. But Reese, if you're out there, I did send you an invite over on Twitter, so you can hop in for a few minutes if you want to offer your thoughts on all this. So, but yeah, I just want to say I appreciate everybody going to the effort of retweeting and adding Posobiec to basically say, hey, like Kevin wants to debate you and everything, because I'm blocked. I literally can't reply.
Yeah, and it's not like stuff. It's not like oh, like sort of do it and sort of annoy him or something like that. Like he legitimately just needs the visual assistance of everyone posting that this guy wants to debate you. That's right. Because when you have 1.2 million followers, it's going to be a little bit difficult to have to filter through all the replies he probably gets.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like I've been too busy today to get to all the DMs that I received in the last 24 hours, for example, and I have less than 1,000 followers. Imagine having 1.2 million. Now, I don't know if he has open DMs. If he has open DMs, he probably has like 4,000 DMs to go through, you know?
Like, I feel like when people are big enough, they don't even like look at their DMs anymore. And they only probably they'll probably only view the ones of people they already follow. Actually, I want to see. Let's just do the Charlie Kirk test. How many people does Jack Posobiec follow? No, never mind. Don't worry. You'll appreciate this, Kevin. He only follows 937 people.
Wait, that's it?
Then he's actually
he has a good ratio. That's like if I follow 0.6 people. That's good.
There we go. Oddly enough, he follows Kelly Loeffler, which feels really weird for Jack Posobiec to be doing.
Really?
Since I feel like he probably considers her. He also follows Dan Crenshaw.
Wait, he follows Crenshaw?
He follows Alan West.
What?
Wait. Does he just hate follow them? Because to be fair, I hate follow people too. Not really hate follow, more so sarcastic follow, because I don't really end up hating that many people. But he's just following a bunch of people that's just like, I can see why he's following some of these people, but then it's like other people are just like, sorry, do you just hate that person so much you just want to be able to respond to all their tweets?
Oh man, we've got Dr. Drunks here tonight. How's it going, Spooky?
It's going good, man.
Oh, man.
I'm constantly watching channels that I hate, and I'm seething in the chat. I hate you. I can't help but watch all your videos. No.
Yeah. Oh man,
that's lame. I can barely bring myself to watch the videos on the podcast, really.
I like how he's stumbling all over himself to like justify himself to me, like a man who has a Patrick Starfish profile.
Someone he doesn't know. A complete rando.
Like, don't worry, Jonathan. You're fine. No one's gonna kick you off the feed if you don't answer my question.
No. He says here, I love debate lords. Keep up the good work. So, you know what? I mean, what I can at least appreciate is that this guy at least appreciates an exchange of ideas. You know, that's it. You know, because there are a lot of people out there that just want to watch their own bubble, and that's it. So, I mean, I'm basically like that at this point. Well, that's not true. I watch Vosh and stuff to see what they're saying. But for the most part these days, I'm so busy making content, I only really have the time to watch content from people I like. But, you know,
I'm going to make sure you see all kinds of content. I've got some surprises for you, my friend.
No, that's true. That's true. We do watch The Other Side on Ghoul Gang Rising, the new podcast. But I do watch, like, Young Turks. I will watch Vosh to keep up with the talking points of the far left. But once you make a lot of content, like I make 60 videos a month, it gets to be taxing. So, you know,
I'm still watching through that first episode because it's 4 hours long, and this is really meta to say while the stream's already happening currently. But that was actually like a really coherent 3 hours I've watched so far for being like the pilot episode to a podcast,
which is amazing because I didn't think we knew what we were doing at all.
No, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know. Like, there's a new feature that StreamYard rolled out where you're actually able to, instead of before, for a year, I was capped at 5-minute clips where if I started watching them, I can't pause. I have to like restart it if I stop it. Now I can literally just control everything on the screen from a file. So but Reese sends me all these tweets of videos, and we're just talking, and then Reese is like, "Okay, let's go with the videos." I'm like, "Oh,
you make a good duo because Kevin can ramble for like 2 hours straight by himself, but then every once in a while it'll go silent, and then Reese will come in with some quip, some like very well crafted, like strange turn of phrase."
Yeah, well,
appreciate it,
actually,
man.
in the old days of like the Hawk Gang and an evening with the Hawks and stuff, there would be times when I would just straight up like dominate the conversation, just talk ad nauseum, and it was
Times, I
annoying.
think you mean every time.
Every time, that's correct. Every time, where like you'd have 8 guests on, and 46% of the speaking time that night would be yours truly. But these days, now that I do a lot of debates, I'll do the interviews and stuff like that. I don't talk as much as I used to. And you might say, Kevin, you talk all the time. Again, my statement stands. I don't talk as much as I used to. So
It's relative.
it's relative, man.
I'm
See,
just kind of the.
See, look, that was a perfect example. Kevin talks for like 45 seconds straight, and then like Reese is just locked and loaded. It's relevant, man.
It's relative.
that was a pretty good example.
No, it's
That's
relative, man. That sounds exactly like something. Somebody needs to make a meme of this. That sounds like exactly something what these anarchists or
That's
libertarians
like
would say.
so relative.
Because
man.
you'd have like on the one hand, you'd have like America with like New York and burgers and food and cars and everything. On the other side, it's like literally a North Korean gulag with like communist soldiers with like AK-47s and stuff, and like starving, emaciated kids. And then you've got like one of these libertarians or like one of these anarchists licking like stone and stuff, being like, it's relative, man. You know, it's relative, man.
How would you describe your moral principles? Well,
I want to do the Reese follow up. Guess you should have eaten a burger, bro.
A Borg.
A burger.
What's stopping those kids from having burgers?
You should have got drunk in the woods.
In the woods.
No. That's what I did. That's what I did because I realized, wait, drunk has a U in it, and woods has O's in it. Drunk in the woods. You just mix the O and the U's. It's a good meme. Like that Daniel debate.
With your vowels, I see.
Yeah, that Daniel debate. That's it. That's it right there. Drunk in the woods. That somebody needs to make a song of that. That's what Kanzig was saying because there's like Dollar in the Woods or whatever, like Keemstar or something. Like, you know, Dollar Bill in the Woods. Somebody needs to make Drunk in the Woods with the Alphabet Boys, you know?
Okay, no. We have my favorite comment. Kevin, I make 60 vids a month. Also, Kevin, I don't talk as much as I used to.
No, but the statement still stands. I used to talk more, believe it or not. But yes.
Kevin takes a few extra inhales every once in a while.
It's good for you, man. It's good for your mental health.
My videos that I used to do used to be like an hour or 40-minute long premieres plus the live streams. Now I do daily premieres, but the average length is like 5 minutes. So, you know.
See, Kevin's got oxygen you don't even know about now.
Extra lungs up in here. I think that I'm just like, I just feel fine to sit back and, you know, listen to things for a while and chime in eventually. I'm much more mellow. Maybe I used to be more of a
You're like what you do is like something sarcastic comment, casual ender to the sentence. It's like
lots of jokes too.
It's like the Ayatollah. He's a friend to humanity, bro. Or man.
That's always been one of my favorite things to do with Kevin is to be like, yeah, what do you have to say to that, Kevin? You've been owned.
Owned. Oh, man. Speaking of owned, we all got owned, actually, because I was listening to the guy, Liberty Lockdown. He's going to be debating me Tuesday night, but I was actually listening to his podcast with Ace Arcus, and they talked for 70 minutes. Funny, because Ace had 70 minutes to talk with him, but he doesn't have the time to debate me. As
a quick question, do you know if this guy named himself after the COVID lockdowns?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a name that's going to be dated real quick, bud.
No, I know, but he talks about it a lot. He talks about how like he he basically he was always opposed to it and everything, and basically like a lot of their conversation though in this episode was about the neocons. And he says to Ace, he's like, at first, like, we didn't even realize that, like, these guys weren't trolls. But then we started to realize, like, they kept coming and coming, and there were just more of them, and they were, like, everywhere. And I'm listening to this. I'm like,
everywhere. There was, like, 30 people max.
No, but I was like, isn't the meme that nobody's a neocon? But then they're like, they were saying how, like, it's a dead ideology and all this kind of stuff. And they were saying how, like, well, like, neocons, yeah, they used to have, like, power and stuff back in, like, the 2000s. But, like, they're done and everything. And then Liberty Lockdown says to Ace, and he's like, oh, yeah. And, like, you were going after these guys for a week. And, like, you really, like, hit the final nail in the coffin on the neocons. And I'm listening to this. I'm like, wait, so like our whole thing, all this is just done. Like,
but they're still attacking him.
I'm gonna have to like shut down my channel. I'm gonna have to close my Twitter account. Everybody in the Hawk Gang's just gonna have to delete their stuff because Ace came and replied to some of our tweets. So like it's like all this 50-year project at Superpower Broadcasting, all this is just it's done. All the young vibrant Hawks, we have to go home now because Ace, this guy who looks like he hasn't showered in 3 weeks, came and said some things on Twitter to us. That was the final nail in the head on neoconservatism. I don't think they get it. Like, I'm not going away. Nobody's going away.
You really put the final nail in the coffin.
They know neoconservatism is dead because they've defined neoconservatism to be like 3 people they dislike. And because they haven't heard much from them in the past year, that ergo it's dead. Like, they probably don't even consider Crenshaw a neocon because then they'd have to agree that it's actually still quite popular.
Well, they were talking about John McCain, and they were saying how anybody who, when you ask them, they were like, you can always tell a good person when you ask them what's their view about John McCain, because if they have to pause and try to explain him, then you know that they're filth.
Yeah, see, we're literally
the correct answer is he's a mass murderer who killed millions of people. That's the correct answer.
We're literally down to only 3 neocons left. John McCain died, so now all we have is George Bush, Mitt Romney, even though he's not really a neocon, and Bill Kristol.
I thought Mitt Romney was supposed to be like a communist to some people. Like, we had that guy the other day, Daniel, that I was debating, that said that he considers Mitt Romney to be left wing, for example. So
I thought neocons ran the country, so I'm a little confused about the whole. It's not even a thing anymore. Like, that's like so 2002, man. I thought it ran the world. What's going on?
Hey guys, this guy named Faker Focus said neocons tend to start off as Trotskyites or mini Michael B. Keatons whose only outlet against their stupid parents is to fall in love with freedom seeds.
That's beyond dumb. No, he did the meme. He did the meme. I made this meme like a year ago of the brainlet face with like the brain where it's biking and the brain's brain is a brainlet. And it's like ding ding, that's all that's going on up there. And it's like neocons are literally Trotsky. Like that's a meme. The idea that neocons and communists are the same thing has to be one of the dumbest memes in all of politics. I'm not just talking like in our community or anything. I'm saying in all of politics, because you literally have the persuasion and foreign policy that brought about the absolute downfall of communism in Europe, at least, and it coupled with the removal of the Baathists from power in Iraq, and combated basically the encroachment of communism in Afghanistan and Islamism in Afghanistan, and all of this was successful. To the extent up till when Obama and Trump largely declawed the efforts in Afghanistan, but still, it does stand that the Afghan government is still a thing, and it's still independent and sovereign and free of the Taliban, all of this, and yet they look at that and they say, oh, it's just failures, man, and they're communists. They're communist failures. It's like, one, neocons are anti-communist, and two, show me any time neocon policy has ever resulted in an L. It always wins. Like Iraq, operational success. It could have been better, but it was still a success. Afghanistan, still a success. And again, the faults that were there were due to Not enough will to stay the course by administrations that came in later, and coupled with the fact that you should have gone even more hawkish against Iran to begin with. That would have made the effort to combat any sort of insurgency a lot easier, if not outright prevented the insurgency, because we know that the insurgency was, in Iraq at least, was funded by Iran. Additionally, the neocons destroyed the Soviet Union. So this idea, oh, they're just failures, they get no wins or anything. No, communists get no wins. They're a bunch of failures. Fascists are a bunch of losers. They get big L's for all their warrior stuff. They lose every war they ever do. Hell, the Italian fascists lost to Ethiopia, for example, and Ethiopia didn't have that big of a military. But neocons take dubs. But these guys, there's literally this account on Twitter called Neocons Posting Their L's. What else? What else have neocons ever posted?
I like how the one that they posted of you was just the fact that you're a neocon.
Oh, that too. And I'm a savage. Apparently, I'm a savage. Like that quote from me. By the way, that's true. Go and watch that debate with Daniel or Hedafax and tell me, or MMI, and tell me I'm not a, not a savage.
Dylan agrees when he tried to get the video removed.
Yeah, I mean, he said, like, that Daniel guy threatened to shut down my channel. He said, look, if you talk about me and all this kind of stuff and everything, I'll have you know I got friends, I got family at YouTube, he said, and all this. And it's like, meanwhile, his channel is literally just in entirety, every video he's ever done is copyright strikeable. So amazing. So it's all just like, oh, well, like, I'll sue you if you talk about me, all this kind of stuff. It's like, dude, like, you know, you've lost when after the debate happens, you're like, I'm going to sue you if you talk about how you won. Oh, man.
Yeah. By the way, we should probably let you go to the Politicrat.
Yes, that's right.
Politicrat,
I talked with them. I talked with them. We're starting at 12:45, so 10 minutes from now. So.
Oh, okay. And anyways, but I was gonna say that next time I do come on, it would actually be really good if I'm not sure if you've been keeping up with it, but do you know who Rob Carbone is at this point?
Yes, I read your article. The guy
wasn't my. To be fair, it wasn't my article. It was one of my writers.
No. That's right. It was Fleury. It was Fleury's article. That's right.
Yeah. We have all of our author names at the bottom, so it gets confusing. But I would really love to go through an entire just like archive of all of the content we got from that. It's beautiful. No, and it's pretty much wrapped up today.
Dude, the Soviet strippers has to be my favorite part of that. That, like, okay, I guess, Reese, have you heard of Carbone before? This guy's really funny. He's trying to make himself out to be the Canadian Trump, and it's kind of a disaster.
I have not.
Oh, okay.
He's the Canadian Trump, but he hasn't changed any of his policies on his website since it was the quote-unquote Progressive Party in 2018, and both parties were never registered.
He calls his party the Republican Party of Canada, yet they asked him, what do you think about the monarchy and the institution of, the Queen as the sovereign of Canada and all this? And he said, oh, like, I'm not against the monarchy or anything. So he's a monarchist.
Well, we didn't ask him. But the thing is, we didn't even ask him about it because he'll never answer any questions. That's just what he puts on his own website and his own, like, Facebook page. It's insane.
That's
also,
right. His address is fake.
Yeah. Supposedly from a guy who was arrested for illegally possessing firearms in the United States in a place where you need a gun license, and his excuse was, well, everyone has guns in the United States, which is fantastic reasoning. He said, according to him, this very credible man, I am a pedophile and a white supremacist, and I also was the one who, I supposedly either sent him death threats myself, or I got someone to send him death threats. So just watch out, Reese, because I might be dangerous. I'm an alleged sex offender, and I got to tell everyone about it.
We're gonna have to wrap this up because I got a show scheduled with the Politicrat starting in 7 minutes. Everybody, if you're still awake, it'd be cool if you could tune into that. But before we wrap this up, I'll give you guys both the opportunity to make your closing remarks. We'll go to Wyatt, and then we'll go to Reese. So we'll start with Wyatt.
My closing statement is I'm going to go onto my website right now, get the link to that article, and just let everyone know it's going to be a really fun time. Maybe I'll even have Carl come on with us, and maybe Gene as well, to go through this whole entire thing, because it's a big old fun time.
Yeah, it's a big lol cow. Everything about this guy is kind of amazing. Like just his address. Like, oh yeah, this is my address. I've got like a building, an office in Toronto, and it's like, oh yeah, you talk to the guys at the building. He's never been there, never rented there or anything.
We didn't check it out. Another person did, but still, like, yeah, like all the stuff is just out there. And he's like, oh, I never collected donations ever. I'm like, well, a Vice News article said you did, and you told me that they did great journalism. So I'm not sure where you're coming from on this. And then also, like, there's like 10,000 things to this, but like, he also keeps telling us that we're infringing on his free speech. Because we quote unquote delete his comments when we know for a fact that he posts stuff, and then when he gets embarrassed by it, he deletes his own comments and then accuses us of deleting them, even though we will literally comment back to him. We're not trying to delete your stuff. We don't care about what you post. It's funny.
Yes. Oh man.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah. So with that, then we will go to Reese.
I'd be surprised if Jack stuck by his word, to be honest with you. I think it really seemed like in the moment tough guy posturing, and he's gonna say the same thing all his followers said and said, oh, your account's too small, you know, you're not David French, you're not Bill Crystal, so I don't care. You're just clout chasing. You're gonna get followers and turn them against me. That's basically what it's gonna be. Oh my god! Look at that profile. Look how unhappy he looks.
No, I know, but I tweeted out.
He looks like how Charlie Kirk looked after they lost the election.
Looks like John Krasinski if you like dragged him through some gravel and then made him back up again.
I tweeted out earlier tonight. The first thing I tweeted about Jack tonight was because I was hearing this stuff about how he was saying he was going to debate any Neocon, and of course I go there and I'm like, I'm still blocked. So I took me being blocked by him, screen cap that. I was just like, look at Mr. Tough Guy. You know, he blocks everybody he disagrees with, basically. No, this guy, I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it. If, you know, he's probably just going to ignore it, but he might also accuse me of being bad faith or something. If he goes the followers route, that would be funny because he said any Neocon. He didn't just say, like, I'll debate Bill Crystal or David Frum anytime. No, he said any Neocon. So that is like technically that means somebody with one follower you could do. So
someone with no followers.
Someone with no followers.
He won't. He really won't.
I honestly think that there's a chance he's going to do it because he honestly thinks because he has a lot of followers that he'll just like come on and like Kevin will just start crying and he'll just start dunking on him with like the best jokes ever for like a solid like 2 hours. Just the best George Carlin stand up that was never released. I don't think he actually has the sense to assume that he could lose.
Oh no, there's no way. And the thing is, I'll say something about the followers thing. That followers thing goes both ways because, like, let's say I had 480,000 followers right now. At that point, that's within the range of like consideration under normal circumstances and stuff. He would not want to debate me because he'd be scared to debate me if he would have seen my previous debates, for example. Like people after they see what happened with Hedifax and Daniel and Burns and Liz and what's the other one that happened recently? MMI, for example, and they've seen like some of these people, they don't even have, like, they deleted their social media presence and everything. Liz, after that debate, stopped streaming and her Patreon dried up and everything. I end people's careers in debates. So
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Yes,
Jack gets on and as the debate's going on, his just follower count's going down, and it's just like a Yu-Gi-Oh duel. He's like, no, and there's like smoke everywhere.
My following.
Every time Kevin makes an argument, something else in the background of Kevin's like backdrop explodes.
Yeah, no, it's like another
Kevin
career bites the dust. Yeah, no, I do have to get going because I promised the Politica a while ago before all this stuff came up tonight. We already had to delay it. It was originally going to be 12 a.m. But then I told him, like, oh, wait, this stuff's pretty urgent. we're going to bring it back. So we were going to do 12:30, but then he said, okay, we can do 12:45. We're doing 12:45. That's in 2 minutes. So I got to wrap this up right now. So, usual spiel, be sure to like and subscribe. I do daily streams, daily premieres. And if you want to support me, check me out over on Ko-Fi, PayPal, and Patreon. And follow these guys over on Twitter, and follow Spooky Nukies over on YouTube. So thank you for watching. And I accept Posobiec's debate challenge. So let's see what happens. Stay based, everybody. See you in 2 minutes.